Well, here we are, Redneck's Pride Outdoors. Thoughts from the office. Getting a lot of folks are seeing me put up my videos of me catching fox and coyotes in the collarums, and for the New Jersey snaremen, it's a positive because New Jersey snaremen sees that this is a tool that can be that could in some ways fill the void for our foot trap that was banned in 1984, and we went to snares in 1986, and then in 1987 we went to the quote-unquote cable restraint. So to the New Jersey snareman who has no other options other than cable, it is a positive tool. I was talking to an old boy yesterday that when we started talking about the collarum, he was from a different state that could still use his foot traps. I just use foot traps. I don't need to use cable. I don't need to hang a snare. I don't need to worry about a collar. I don't know why I would have to learn that. I just go to my foot traps. And that is absolute correct. Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, New York. There are the states that go around New Jersey. You have your foot traps still. You still have the ability to catch your fox and your coyotes in a wide open, nothing there spot. Cornfields we can a cut cornfield we can snare in. I know it's hard for people to believe that, but we can, and we do it quite often. All I need is a 3, 4, 5 inch stubble in that corn. A 6-inch stubble is like a blessing. Okay, so I can snare in a cornfield. I can't snare in a harvested soybean field or a harvested, cut down wheat or oat field. And our foxes and our coyotes run these field edges. And so what I've got to do with regular cable restraints is I've got to set up every possible trail off of that field that goes into a complete total nothing but hardwoods or complete total nothing but mature forest for 1,000 acres or 500 acres or 200 acres. And in so doing, by setting up every run that I possibly think that a coyote or a fox will use, that means I've got to have many cable restraints hung. And I'm all for that. No problem. But when I've only got, for an eastern coyote situation, we don't have the center of the country coyote numbers like you do out in other places. So when I only have 2 to 5 coyotes coming into that section every 10 days for 1 or 2 days and then disappearing, and then checking empty coyote snares for another 10 days, hoping they're going to pick the run that I choose. Now, yes, I've been snaring for 36 years. 37 years, I guess, actually. So those of you who are, you know, all you got to do, bull. Okay? Most of you guys that say all you got to do is from areas where you've got 10 times the amount of coyotes that New Jersey has. That you have coyotes coming into a spot every 3 or 4 days at the minimum, if not every other day or every day. All right. You want to see how good you are? Come to Jersey and show me how to do it. Okay. But I can either set out 20, 30 cable restraints on one 50-acre field, or I can take that collarum, which is a baited set, and I can put it in the absolute best spot, corner, point, tree, whatever. Okay. And I can set that device up, one or two of them, and it's the same philosophy, the same mindset that you are using for your foot traps. So yes, the collarum is a good tool for New Jersey. Pennsylvania? No, you can't use them. You can only use 3/32 cable. I don't think you can use a collarum. Delaware, I'm not for certain if you can use them in Delaware. New York, absolutely not. Maryland, you can probably use a collarum. So what you're seeing me say to you is this. In our New Jersey bubble, the collarum is a good tool. The problem with the collarum is this. The tool was made for wildlife control, ADC work, in and around areas where the coyotes are frequently coming into yards and stuff like that. So it's a great tool for that. But when you get it out in the back 40 under fur trapping situations, it's a good tool if you understand and go about making the changes that you need to do to make it work. Now, I'm getting a lot of folks private messaging me, texting me, calling me, and letting me know how well the collarum is starting to work for them. And that I'm happy about. I really am. I'll throw a plug in for my Redneck's Pride Outdoors collarum bait 1 and 2, and then hopefully by the end of this season we'll have a collarum bait number 3 out there, and it looks like we're going to. So I'll throw a plug in there. I honestly believe that our collarum bait that I specifically made, collarum 1, CR1 or collarum B or CB 1, was made for cold weather. CB2 was made for all season, and the third one is going to be made for a better all season. All right. I honestly believe it's one of the best out there. I'm not going to tell you it's the best, but I got to tell you I believe it is. Okay. But anyway, getting back to it, the problem with the collarum is when you go to use it and you look at the videos and you go to do your things with it, you're going to miss. And there's a couple reasons for that, and I'm not going to go into that into detail. You want to learn how to make that collarum work to catch gray fox, to catch raccoons, to catch skunks. You want to learn how to do that? You got to come to the South Jersey Trapping and Snaring School, January 19, 20, 21, 2024, next weekend. There's still some spots left. Get a hold of me. But anyway, going back to it, one of the biggest problems with the collarum is it misses. And why does it miss? It didn't miss the coyote. It missed the raccoon or the skunk or the gray fox. And it missed some red foxes. So you got to make some tweaks to it. You got to make some changes to it. In the fur game, you've got to play it differently than I have to play it in my ADC wildlife control work. In my ADC wildlife control work, it doesn't have the same problems that it has in the back 40. So I set out, I've been using this thing since it came out, and it became legal in New Jersey, and I don't know how many years that was. That's been a long time. Matter of fact, when I first started using, I was missing because of raccoons, and Alan Hewitt was still alive and is a very good friend of mine. And I told Alan, I said, I can't have these raccoons. I can't keep missing these raccoons. And I'm going to figure out how to catch them with this stupid thing. And I did. And he said to me, Jonesy, just do me a favor. Don't, it's made for foxes and coyotes in urban areas. I know it was. But as a New Jersey snareman who can't use foot traps, and the coyotes and the foxes like to run down those roads and like to run down those field edges, and never go into the woods. And I set out to make this stinking thing work in the fur trapping game. I've got to start a job here the next day or two on a shooting preserve. And as I was talking to the gentleman who owns the preserve, obviously his concern was all the regular cable restraints that's got to be hung, and he's got clients hunting. And I showed him the collarum, and I showed him what we can do and how we can do it and how we can avoid the hunters. Thus being, I'm going to start a predator job in the next day or two. All right. So the collarum works. The collarum works great. And for those of you who are thinking about buying one or using it, by all means do it. And by all means, you want to use my bait too. Okay. But seriously, you're going to have problems with it. I was on a study 2 years ago for the BMPs. And I caught some coyotes. And I sent them out to be necropsied. Me and some other trappers across the country. And the problem was there wasn't enough coyotes submitted by the other trappers to and myself to complete a thorough BMP study. I wish I was on that study this year, okay, because I would probably fill the quota. But anyway, the reason it's such a hard tool is because you have to understand, number one, location on coyotes. Let's talk about coyotes, because fox are a little bit easier. The biggest problem with foxes is, well, you gotta come to school and find that out. With coyotes, you gotta be location. Your location has got to be on for the collarum. Just like your location's got to be on for the foot trap. A lot of guys talking about foot trapping. I can't catch nothing. I don't see nothing. I don't know what, blah, blah, blah. 90% of the time, the reason they're not catching something in their foot traps is a location. They're off on location. The same thing with your collarum trap. Got to be location. You got to be on there. What do I mean by location? Not only the spot that coyote is willing to go or be at, but more importantly, that spot that coyote's willing to reach down and grab that trigger and pull it, maintaining body position so that snare can be thrown up over his head. I've got it on video where the coyote came in on the side and smacks him on the side of the head. All right? You need them straight on. And when you do that location, when you're picking that spot, that coyote, if you know behavior, that coyote is saying, I don't know if I trust this or not. I don't know if I trust this or not. Number one, location, that he's willing to grab it. You heard me just say it. Position of the collarum, but also more important than position is presentation combined with position. And number three, a bait that they're going to grab and pull, and not just sit there and lick. Or not just sit there and play with, but not yank up on it. That's why the bait for the collarum trap has to create a grab and pull. All right, they'll sit there and lick on it, but they gotta want to grab it and pull it. Which means when that coyote comes by that collarum, you've got to appeal to what? Everybody says hunger. More than likely, by the time that coyote comes to your collarum or your spot, he's not hungry anymore. I mean, how long is an animal? At the school, I'll talk about this. Again, I will beat it in everybody's head. How long is an animal hungry for when he leaves his den or hole? The answer to that is the first meal. How long does it take a coyote or a fox to get their first meal? Hour, maybe 2. How much does it take to fill up a fox or a coyote? A rabbit? 5 or 6 mice? The deer carcass laying there? So chances are, if you know what I'm getting at, chances are by the time that critter gets to your collarum, he ain't hungry no more. What's he in the mood for? Same as you and I are at 9 o'clock at night. Something to nibble on, something to snack on. That goes for all animals too, by the way. Animals aren't constantly looking for food. Severe weather they are, but not today. It's going up to 45 degrees. Last night it was 30. That ain't nothing for New Jersey critter. They ain't hungry. You get down to, 2 weeks of 20 and below and deep snow, well, then maybe they're getting a little bit hungry. But 20 to 30 degrees, no snow, shoot. They ain't hungry. So what's the coyote or the fox doing for the next 12 hours of darkness, or however many hours you got of darkness? Being a coyote or being a fox. Another thing to think about. Huh. We're setting collarums today and tomorrow for gray fox. And I'm going to catch some stupid raccoons. Now, I like raccoons. I love trapping raccoons. But I don't want to catch them in a collarum. But I'll take them because I need the glands. And I won't mind catching them because I'll prove to you that the collarum does work if you want to put the effort into learning it. But you're not going to learn it. I'll give you an example. I got the collarum, set it out. Boom! Caught an animal right off the get-go. Hot dogs! And then for the next 20 times, miss. Had to try to figure it out. Why am I missing these suckers? That's where you learn about the skunks and the raccoons, because you put the cameras up on them. You learn about what's happening. You learn about the position, the body positions. You learn about the temperament and the personality. I've gotten more calls this week, more texts, more PMs from guys using collarums this week saying the stinking coyotes came by 4 or 5 times, looked at it, and walked on. Now, thank God they wasn't using my baits. Ooh, I'm happy about that. But the truth of the matter is they may. when I talk to them or have them send me a picture of the setup, the first problem I see is location and presentation. Both of them. Location, presentation. Now, of course, as a salesman, I'm going to tell you it's my bait. You got to use my bait. But on this video, I'm telling you, location, presentation. All right, I got to go out and get ready for a gray fox setup. I was going to set in a DP trap. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to set up a collarum, and on each side, because I've got video on it, on which way the raccoons and everything come in on two of the spots. I'm going to set a DP on each side of the collarum by 20-30 feet to try to hook up on the raccoons on each side before they get to the collarum. It puts me back in the old foothold days, man. You know, back pre-1986, where, you know, remember, as a fox trapper, considered every raccoon, even though I loved trapping raccoons, even though I wanted raccoons, even though I made the majority of my money on raccoons, when I set a foot trap for a fox back in them days, and a raccoon got clogged up in it, it was, trash, trash, trash. That just shows you how we think. All right. Even though back in them days, I was still getting $45 for a raccoon, you know, for big raccoons, not the little ones, obviously. All right. Well, thoughts from the office. Redneck's Pride Outdoors. Wind's blowing like crazy. Got to go get this set up and all that. So I'll talk to you next time. And remember, South Jersey Trapping and Snaring School. January 19, 20, and 21. Flatten out that curve. Right? One last question to you. You caught 10 fox in cable restraints. Good job, my friend. How'd you do it? See you next time.